Hi, my name is Scarlett, and I am an atheist and a skeptic, and what I have for you today is some grade A blibbity blab. And by that, I mean some incoherent mumbo jumbo. We have a huge dollop of rebaked Pascal's wager, a nice portion of look at the trees, and a whole lot of atheists really suck. So that's my portion of blibbity blab. Let's get going. So, I have a couple of things for us to consider today, and at first glance, they might not seem to have a lot in common, but what I see as the commonality is a thread of some kind of half baked Pascal's wager. First up, we have a short video, and I don't know what I prefer more, the cinematography or the argumentation. Tell me in the comments below which one you prefer. Let's watch.
Atheists are deluded about the pleasures of life and themselves and their friends and family and pets because they prefer not to continue living because they do not believe in the concept of heaven.
Short and sweet, right? And I am thinking of this as some incoherent Pascal's wager because I think the point the gentleman is making is that it is better to bet that a God exists because if you believe that he does, you gain everything, entry into heaven and eternal life and all that. And the atheist is screwed. I mean, that's what I'm getting out of this. Tell me if you think I'm wrong. And I'm not sure what the delusions are about. I don't know what he means that atheists are deluded concerning themselves and the pleasures of life, friends, family, and pets. Who knows? Does this man even know? I think this life is all we have and we should try to get some enjoyment out of it and show appreciation to loved ones. But what is the delusion? And by the way, I do see this from time to time that believing in something means somehow it exists. From my point of view, it doesn't matter what I prefer to be true. Some atheists probably would prefer to live forever in some form of heaven, while others are content that death is final. The preference in this matter doesn't change the reality of what actually happens when we die. And likewise, this guy preferring to live forever in heaven doesn't make the actual existence of heaven any more likely. Like, our desire for things doesn't change reality. I have spent far more time on this guy than he deserved, and more than he did preparing or filming this video, whatever brain fart he thought he was going to communicate. Let's go on. Next up, I'm back on the Got Questions website, and their question is, what is agnosticism? Now, for me, agnosticism is about knowledge claims, like what do we think we know? I consider myself an agnostic atheist, and that is, I don't believe in God, but I don't know for sure. I think God belief occupies an interesting space in terms of belief structures because I don't think there's anything else out there where we would start believing in that thing without having good evidence. But God belief is something that's been handed down through the millennia, people believing in some God or gods and having stories about them. And so it's something that we have to consider and decide, is there good evidence and do I believe? I don't think there's anything else in the world that would be like that. But anyway, let's go see what Got Questions has on agnosticism. Agnosticism is the view that the existence of God is impossible to be known or proven. The word agnostic essentially means without knowledge. Now, I agree with that last part, but the first sentence, I don't know that it's necessarily impossible. It's just that we don't have the knowledge at the current moment. We don't have any evidence for it. But maybe at some future time we could have it. I don't have it now. I don't know that it's impossible. Agnosticism is a more intellectually honest form of atheism. I do find it interesting that Got Questions recognizes that you can both be agnostic and atheism. I wouldn't say it's a form of atheism because I think it can exist with theism. You can be an agnostic theist as well. But, we're going to change it up in a minute, so this doesn't even matter. I don't know why this sentence is here. Atheism claims that God does not exist, an unprovable position. And of course, atheism does not claim that God does not exist. Atheists claim that they do not believe in God. Anti-theism is more properly the claim that God does not exist. But anyway, agnosticism argues that God's existence cannot be proven or unproven, that it is impossible to know whether or not God exists. This is a restatement of what we've already said. In this, agnosticism is correct. God's existence cannot be empirically proven or disproven. And I want us to remember this as we move along, that we cannot prove or disprove God according to Got Questions. Like I already said, I consider myself to be an agnostic atheist. I am someone who doesn't know, I'm without the knowledge, and I'm also without the belief. I am an atheist. Both of those things can coexist. And you can be an agnostic theist, which it seems like Got Questions is sort of embracing here in this part of the answer. But like I said, keep this in mind as we move on. Let's keep going. The Bible tells us that we must accept by faith that God exists. That's right. You've got to have faith that he exists. You don't have the evidence. Hebrews 11:6 says that without faith it is impossible to please God because anyone who comes to him must believe that he exists and that he rewards those who earnestly seek him. God is spirit, so he cannot be seen or touched. Unless God chooses to reveal himself, he is invisible to our senses. So God has to choose to reveal himself. And again, it seems like the people that Got Questions may be some agnostic theists right there. But we're about to take a turn. The Bible declares that the existence of God can be clearly seen in the universe. And of course, we use a psalm for that. Like, I don't know why Christians think that psalms are such good evidence of anything, because we definitely know that that's poetry. That's not even pretending to be prophetic or anything. Sensed in nature, we got Romans there, so, Paul, great. And confirmed in our own hearts, Ecclesiastes, and yet another poem. Not that we can actually trust any of the Bible to tell us anything about anything. It was all human beings writing everything down. But the specific things that Christians use, it's like this is the least reliable stuff in the Bible, if you ask me. Really, what we have writ large is look at the trees. Look at the trees. Even though God is not revealing himself, he is sort of revealing himself. It's a bit of a contradiction. Like, either he is visible and you don't need faith, or he's not. But, you want it both ways, I guess. Just look how pretty the trees are. Next up, agnostics are unwilling to make a decision either for or against God's existence. It is the ultimate straddling the fence position. Theists believe that God exists. Atheists believe that God does not exist. Agnostics believe that we should not believe or disbelieve in God's existence because it is impossible to know either way. Now, I do know some agnostics that use the label this way, and I don't really want to nitpick the label. I'm more interested in what people believe than what they call themselves, and it's fine that people can use these terms in different ways and that we can define it and move on. The agnostics I know who think of themselves as pure agnostics tend to lead their lives like atheists, and so, whatever. But like I said before, I consider myself an agnostic atheist, and what I mean by that is that I don't believe in God, and I don't think we have any kind of good evidence to think that one exists. But, come back to me if you get some, and, look at the trees ain't gonna work for me. Let's keep going. For the sake of argument, let's throw out all the clear and undeniable evidences of God's existence. Wait a minute, what? Just a bit ago, we were talking about we need to have faith and God will only show himself, but now there's clear and undeniable evidence of God's existence. Some more look at the trees, I guess. Is that what you're talking about? Look at the trees, look at the beauty in the world. I mean, this have it both ways kind of position, it just drives me crazy. Oh, you got to have faith, but there is clear evidence. Like, which one is it, guys? Moving on, because that's ridiculous. If we put the positions of theism and agnosticism on equal footing, which makes the most sense to believe in regards to the possibility of life after death. We're teeing up our Pascal's wager. If there is no God, theists and agnostics alike all simply cease to exist when they die. If there is a God, both theists and agnostics will have someone to answer to when they die. From this perspective, it definitely makes more sense to be a theist than an agnostic. I have to say, I do appreciate the scare quotes around the word sense, because we're not making any sense here. If neither position can be proven or disproven, it seems wise to make every effort to thoroughly examine the position that may have an infinitely and eternally more desirable end result. We're not trying to pick out an exercise plan to get in shape or to run a marathon or anything like that. We're trying to figure out what is true or likely true. So it doesn't matter what you think the result is going to be. You have to try to find evidence for these positions. And this just tells me everything that's wrong with Got Questions. Next up, it is normal to have doubts. There are many things in this world that we do not understand. Yeah, I don't understand why Got Questions exists. Often people doubt God's existence because they do not understand or agree with the things he does and allows. You know, if I thought he actually did things and allowed things, I would think he exists. I would just think he's like a shitty being, which I do think that the character is shitty. But I don't think he doesn't exist because of stuff that's written in the Bible. I don't see any evidence for his existence, and the Bible is just a book. Okay, moving on. However, as finite human beings, we should not expect to be able to comprehend an infinite God. But yet, you have a whole book that tells us what he wants, right? Again, more contradictions. Some things from Romans we're not going to read. Who cares? Paul said some shit. Let's go on to the end. We must believe in God by faith and trust his ways by faith. I thought that we had really good evidence that he exists. But no, we're back to have faith. All right, got questions. God is ready and willing to reveal himself in amazing ways to those who will believe in him. Some stuff from Deuteronomy. If you seek the Lord, you'll find him, blah, blah, blah. Is there some version of like Schrodinger's religion where like there's totally evidence for God, y'all, but also you need to have faith because, you know, there's not really good evidence? Just all of that. So as you can see, we got a heap and helping of Pascal's wager in some tasty word salad and also rebaked into a different form. We got a bunch of look at the trees because, you know, that's all the evidence we have for God is look how pretty trees are or whatever it is, or they're amazing or I don't know. And of course, a whole lot of atheists suck and are deluded. So what struck you in the stuff that we did today? Put it in the comments below. You know, I love to read your comments. And while you're down there, like, subscribe, and do all the YouTube stuffing. Thank you so much for doing all the YouTube stuffing. Algorithmo and his consort Algorithma, thank you for doing all the YouTube stuffing. And they will reward you with all kinds of good YouTube recommendations and probably a whole bunch of ads, some of which you will not be able to skip. And there you go. Life in 2025, y'all. And if you like what I do, you can buy me a coffee. Here's a QR code with my cute kitties who think you're buying me some kibble, but I'm not. I'm going to buy some coffee this time, kitties. You have plenty of kibble. And I don't know what's up next, but you know, it's going to be stupid. Bye for now.